Hello, welcome to the theElpyDimension. I'm your guide, Elpy. Okay, we're in the back garden. Bed A, B, C, D, E, and F. So we're in bed F. This is where I grew a couple of shungiku plants, some petunia. There was also Roman chamomile in here, and mainly phenomenal cowpeas, and then Sumter cucumber. I also have this wild bergamot or bee balm. It has terrible powdery mildew. It's supposed to be a perennial. I probably will cut it because of the mildew. And then we have some garden balsam or touch me not that clearly made its way from bed C. I say clearly because that's the only place it's growing. I want to show you real quick. Look at these, I believe you would call them adventitious roots. This shungiku. You see it a lot. It's probably most commonly seen, most people have seen it on tomatoes. Isn't that really wild? So there's been all kinds of weeds surrounding this plant, and the other one that I've already cut down, that was right here, didn't have that. It did not have all those root structures. Pretty gnarly looking, right? The reason I'm leaving it is because it's growing some more greens, so more leaves, which are edible. The flowers are edible as well. So we'll see what we have. Now what I've been doing is I took most of what was left, taking it out. I'm going to compost it. However, I also chopped up, I did chop and drop with a lot of the phenomenal cowpeas. I cut them at their stem at the base to leave the root structure with their beneficial nodes. There's a type of, I don't think it's bacteria. I'm not even going to try to, I should know this, but anyways, if you don't know, legumes, beans, peas, and the like are nitrogen fixing plants. There's they have a symbiotic relationship with I believe it's microbes in the ground, where they'll form these nodes on their roots that help fix nitrogen from the air and make it more available to plants. So that's why I've gone ahead and cut them at the base to leave the root structures in place. So with that being said, I've decided I am going to plant garlic in this bed. I've planted it up front here before. I don't always go to the end because it gets kind of shaded there, but I think this year I'm going to, as well as I probably will plant garlic again in A and B. Still haven't harvested the lemongrass. So I'm going to leave this chop and drop. I do not have compost, my own compost like I normally do this year. How am I going to plant my garlic? I'm just going to plant the garlic around this. But one of the main reasons we're in here today is, if you've been here before, you've heard me talk about invasive jumping worms, Asian jumping worms, crazy worms, snake worms. I have several videos about them, me catching them, identifying them. And one very strong identifying factor is, you see how like grainy, what's the word? This is like, it's not a solid soil. And yeah, if I watered it, I saw it the other day, I've been seeing it, and I watered it and it looked normal again. And I can crumble it and break it up and make it look like soil. However, this is indicative of the Asian jumping worms. The reason they're bad is because they break down the organic matter, which is a super important part of your soil, and it's not very it doesn't make up a large percentage of your soil. Like I think they say a good percentage to have in your soil is like 4 or 5%. So it's not, if you can get your garden to 4 or 5%, that's fantastic. And Asian jumping worms break down organic matter faster than it is replenished. And from what I've heard, the castings that they leave behind, their poo, the thing that a lot of us buy, worm castings, I don't buy it because I make my own. What's up, chipmunk? Apparently, the Asian jumping worm castings are not as nutritious. And I've not seen this in all my other beds, but I noticed earlier this summer that this bed, the surface, is made up of all these little balls. And I'm like, that means this bed has a decent amount of jumping worms in it. So it's been on my list for months to come here with you and search for Asian jumping worms. Hopefully, it being a cooler, it's October 20th today. Hopefully they haven't moved on and moved out to where they're going to be difficult to find. See how I get down here, and my soil is very sandy. I ordered it 4 years ago now, and I've learned after I ordered it that was not a good soil composition. It was 30% sand, 30% leaf mold, and 30% topsoil, and it's just way too sandy. I mean, it looks nice, right? Like it is nice soil, especially now. I've got hugelkultur in my beds, meaning that there's logs and sticks under this. Now, am I surprised I haven't found one? Yes. But this is what I was concerned about waiting so long. I'm concerned that I don't know what they do. Perhaps they've moved on because you see it's dry. Well, it's not like bone dry, but basically. And have they digested what they wanted of the soil, of the organic matter? Have they moved on to new beds? Hold on. I really wasn't prepared to not find any. But it is a curious thing to wonder. So is there just, they did away with, oh my goodness, this is the biggest one I have ever found. Oh, look at this, guys. That is a very large Asian jumping worm. I'm absolutely certain because one, I've never seen a worm. Hold on. Never seen a worm this thick. So, and you see he's very slow. I really wish I had bird friends that I could feed, because while a Beautiful specimen of a worm. He has to be destroyed. So, for me in this case, the number one sign that this is an Asian jumping worm, a lot of people think that it's their movement that gives them away, because normally they are very active. They will like twist around and basically jump. Some people have videos of them for real jumping, and they move like a snake. Once you've seen them, you can't unsee them. But it's getting late in the season. Maybe it's kind of cold for him. So, number one thing, in this case, that's a massive worm. Two, look at the color. See, and this is repetitive if you've seen my other videos, but it never hurts. See how he's shiny, but he's not slimy. You ever picked up a worm? If you're a farmer and you got a thing of bait worms, you know that when you run your finger, you could see like a slime come off of them. Not these guys, right? And he's this sort of more grayish brown. And then, obviously this is an adult. Let's look at its clitellum, which is their reproductive organ, I believe you would call it. Now, this guy's is not as pronounced on top, but see how it's flush with the surface of the body? It doesn't bulge. It's also blue worms are like that. Interesting, because blue worms are a tropical worm as well. But the color is that like a sort of salmon color, tannish salmon color, and it's whole, complete around the body. It doesn't change shape. So, just when I thought maybe they'd moved on, this guy has been eating well in here. I'm sorry to say, buddy, that has come to an end for you. Okay, I'm gonna put him in a bucket. Okay. Another reason that they're problematic is I've heard that unlike our other composting worms, these guys don't need a partner to breed. Okay. Alright, so we did in fact find one. Funny part is he more so presented himself than, yep. There we go, again. And that is something else I've noticed with the jumping worms, is that they definitely congregate. See how this one, see that light colored clitellum? Man, these guys are big. Whew. Alright, stop playing with him. I was trying to get him to jump. So, looks like we had more luck over here. Kind of actually hate disturbing the soil, and interestingly enough, and we're not seeing other composting worms. Again, it's dry, and there was a lot of this I also just cut, but let's see, let's go wide angle so you can find them with me. I know there's more than two in here, come on. I'm not looking for cocoons, but if I see one, we're going to play it safe and assume that is from a jumping worm. You know, since I went and got this, let's just see what happens. If we dig farther down, let's see what we encounter. Much more sandy. Anyway, I'm pretty sure I dug down. These beds aren't very deep. This one in particular, I think these are 16 inches. They don't look that way because of pea gravel, but interesting that I don't believe I went crazy with the yeah, okay, so down there you can, what I'm hitting are the wood that's down there. I didn't put a whole lot, but you see, I'm not seeing any worms. No worms whatsoever. And that is sad. I mean, my beds are not, I've got, I don't really want them to connect with the soil underneath, but I had hoped that earthworms would still find their way in here. But it would appear that is not the case. So perhaps I should pause so I'm not using up, well, I think for the sake of a video, we've got what we came for. But let's go ahead, head down here, because it could also be the case my moving around, like I have been, has already disturbed them and alerted them to move on. Again, another very healthy one. See that quitellum color? Ask me why I didn't bring my bucket. Okay. Keeps being the case that I like stir the soil around, and then I find one. But again, no that was a plant tag. No regular composting worms, and no, there's not a lot of compost. It was on organic matter on top of the soil for the regular composters, so it's not exactly a surprise. There's a worm. Looks like I damaged. Clearly I damaged. Question is, what kind of worm? Because jumping worms aren't the only ones that can lose their tail to get away. Based on that worm's size, I'm gonna guess it was, in fact, ooh, I just remembered that. I'm gonna cut the bee balm, but the leaves, I'm basically trying to say I'm not trying to kill my bee balm plants. I'm not really paying attention to that because I'm so like, get the worms. There's another one over here, bee balm. Okay. Probably my spade, my trowel, I mean, will do a better job. Or perhaps a faster job. Yeah, see? Wait. No. You're a weed. Good chop and drop. You know, we'll just compost you. So, maybe if I say, alright, lots of the little worm dirt balls, the castings over here, where it would appear that the organic matter, let's see, again, I'm forgetting about my plan. I'm like a dog after a bone. Nothing will get in my way. Trying to say that was the only one over there? Right. Let's go over here. See all the little balls. Dirt balls. I'm not seeing anything. So, I'm still surprised that they're this difficult to find. And then again, I'm not, because it's late in the season. And it's dry. I bet it would be easier to find them after it's rained. Okay. Yeah, there's some evidence here. This is a weed. A native nightshade, I believe. Interesting that was the soil. It's a little tougher to pull up than over there at the front. Well, not seeing anything, are you guys? Yeah, the soil's way more dense down there. And still, no red wigglers or earthworms. Okay. So, I'm gonna ruin my pants. I keep getting stuck on the, this is higher up. Okay. Got some more weeds. That's like a sapling of some kind. Small tree. Okay. I wonder about right here because, see again the soil surface? Oh, the crumbliness. And I don't know how quickly they move underground, you know, but worms feel vibrations. So it's not impossible that they've long since moved on, feeling my disturbance in the soil. Let's go to the front. This is so tricky, because that is Virginia creeper. Actually, it might all be Virginia creeper. Sometimes you'll see Virginia creeper having 3 leaves. This is poison ivy. Virginia creeper. Poison ivy. Poison ivy. Poison ivy kind of has that thumb. Anyway, so look though, and that kind of looks like it has a thumb, but the appendage is more like little anyways. We'll sort this bed up. Look. Yep, we disturbed them. Yeah, these are all the biggest ones I've ever seen. I'm sorry to my bee balm if the plant dies as a result of these efforts. I'm sorry, but it was worth it. And it's not bad for the soil to get this aeration. I know I'm kind of breaking up the soil structure, but I'm also introducing the organic matter that's falling down into it. And if the soil is full of, or has invasive worms in it, it's better for the soil that I get them out. Still no worms, other types of worms. Yep, it's good and crumbly all the way over here. Aha. Man, these are, look at these. These are, by far, these are easily the biggest I've ever seen and caught. And I think they actually still get bigger than this. I think I found one big boy several years ago that was comparable in size. I mean, I don't have a big hand, but I really shouldn't throw all my little plant things in there, but so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 big worms. Well, I'm going to need to save some storage on my phone here soon. Oh. He's stripping out apart because I heard him. Not that I meant to, but ultimately I'm trying to hurt them all. So clearly, there's like a little couple of them up here. Are there more? Definitely lots of crumbly soil. Those petunias smell really good. At least I assume that's what they are. What I'm smelling. Now I do care about killing the Shumbiku, even though it doesn't have too much longer to live. Well, I will. That's probably a pokeberry root. I'm going to leave it and hope that it breaks down instead of trying to come back. I'm running out of space on my phone, but we now have 7 very large seed 8. I mean, really, guys, look how big they are. Isn't that crazy? And you should destroy them. Most of the things I've read said to put them in a Ziploc bag and let them melt in the sun. I squish them with my foot on concrete because you don't want them to release any eggs if they happen to have any. All right, well, this has been interesting. Surprisingly. This. I think that's a regular worm. Well, a piece of a worm, rather. All right, well, if I catch any more, I'll add that picture in for you. But no doubt there are more. Probably do a second hunt another day. But we got 7 and they're massive. All right, I appreciate your time and your interest. If you've enjoyed the video, consider letting me know one way or the other. Comments, thumbs. Be safe, be well. Bye for now.